What it do, folks? Listen, I just jumped on real quick because obviously some things on my mind. So I jumped on. But as you all probably know, as of end of July 2024, if you pay attention to the outside world, it's about to be election time. Campaign season is upon us. And over the last few years, I've kind of stepped away because it comes overwhelming. I love politics at heart. I love, government, how the government flow and work and all the kind of stuff. But just over the last few years with all the discourse, I've kind of stepped away. But with it being campaign season, it's like it sucks me back in, and I somewhat hate myself a little bit for being sucked back in. Only a little bit. I'm trying not to get too deep. But one thing that always comes to mind is how one-track minded so many folks are. And those folks that I'm talking about particularly are Christian folks. Christians are so one-track minded when it comes to politics. And it aggravates me. What sparked this desire to record my thoughts, in my efforts to become more sound in my doctrine, become more biblically sound. There are a couple of channels on YouTube I follow. I don't want to name names. Maybe by the time I post this, I'll tag them. I don't know. I haven't decided. But there are two pages I follow. As far as just content and comparing what sermons are out there compared to what the Bible actually says. They're great at that, because we all need to really understand if you're going, especially as a Christian anyway, if you're going to call yourself a Christian, it's your responsibility to study and show yourself approved, as they say. So with the guidance of a couple of these channels, they're very helpful in that. But of course, with politics, they're compelled to speak on it. The thing that aggravates me, with Christians is that there's a presupposition that the Republicans have the Christians at heart. Like, oh, no Christian in their right mind would ever vote for a Democrat. Blah, those heathens. Blah, they support blah, blah, blah. And the Republicans is by default the one who have the Christians at heart, which is simply not true. Once you get past talking points and we look at policy and voting record and priorities as far as legislation. So it's like, okay, they hate the gays, they hate abortion. Okay, is that all there is to it to being a Christian? That's the only thing we should be concerned about. And my opinion is always, we get so hung up on two things, homosexuality and abortion, that really have nothing to do with you. That's really not affecting your life, your walk with Christ. If Ricky and Jan down the street, if Ricky on one side of your house and Jan on the other side of your house are gay, how is the lifestyle they living affecting your walk with Christ? Oh, Jesus, I really want to follow you, but the sin that Ricky commits makes it hard. That sounds so foolish. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous notion. Oh, Jan, she had an abortion. I just can't trust you, Jesus, because Jan had an abortion. How ridiculous does that sound? But that's all they seem to care about in voting. Not how the poor treated, how is the justice system treating people? Not, looking out for the least of these. It's about gays and abortion. That's all they care about. If you don't believe in gay marriage because your faith, I don't believe in gay marriage. And you know how I execute my faith and not believe in gay marriage is right? I don't get gay married. That's how I show I don't believe in gay marriage. I don't get gay married. You know how I exemplify my belief about abortion? Don't have an abortion. Well, see, the backtrack to that, you shouldn't be put, if you're a Christian, especially a single Christian, you shouldn't be having sex anyway, to where that even comes up for you. You shouldn't be having sex anyway. But because we can't control ourselves, you know, oftentimes we do. Now, as a married couple, you know, if you don't want kids, wear condoms, do whatever you gotta do, birth control, all that kind of stuff. But it's so much more nuanced than what they make it out to be. Like, y'all, I'm sorry, but this is me. I can't speak for everybody, but I have a daughter. She's 12 going on 13. And hey, we have to be real about the world we live in. She gets raped and she ends up pregnant. Guess who's not keeping that baby? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Guess who's not keeping that baby? Now we can make all our arguments on either side of the fence, and we can cherry pick scriptures. I was on this website, you know, just because I look up stuff, man, and you know, there's faith-based organizations, you know, to help with women who are pregnant considering abortion. If you ride on the highway, if you travel on the highway, you may see billboards and stuff. Pregnant, you're not alone, come here. Well, I went to one of their websites one time, and you know, I read through it, and they put scriptures up, you know, to reinforce what they were saying about, you know, life being precious, and to really state their claim and what they believe God says about abortion. But with most stuff, if you take that scripture that they post, that even in sermons, if you take the scripture they come from, and if you read the passage in its entirety, it has nothing to do with the point you're trying to make. It has nothing to do with the point they're trying to make. Sometimes the audience is God talking to the children of Israel, who are crossing the river Jordan to the land that he promised them, and he's saying choose life, and he gives a list of just different things, you know, that he said are, you know, lead to death. Just saying choose life instead of doing these things, being mean to each other, just different stuff. But they'll cherry pick that, or they'll say, you know, you knit me in my womb. You know, that's a prayer from Psalms. That was that author's prayer. That's not something God said. That's something David said in the prayer. You know, and so, especially to be in a world that abortions happen in their culture, in their society, the Bible really doesn't specifically. Now, people do talk about the guy, I forget his name at the moment. Like I said, I'm working on being more doctrinally sound, but I guess he ejaculated, he spilled his seed, and God struck him down right there. And people will highlight that as, see, you know, abortion bad. Because he spilled the seed. I don't know, man. It gets frustrating. It gets annoying that some Christians, I don't want to speak in general, some Christians are so one-track minded that you're anti-abortion. Cool. That's cool for your faith. You're against homosexuality. You should be. That's specifically transcribed in the text. But as far as political matters go, you know, they love to talk about, you know, land of the free, but be quick to impose their beliefs on other people. What are we doing, man? Like, what are we really doing here? Except being hypocrites, which we're not supposed to be. You know, the same measure that you judge with, you'll be measured with. Don't throw stones when you live in a glass house, whatever allegory you want to use. Like, I just hate the presupposition that, you know, you shouldn't vote for a Democrat simply because they have a platform that grants people free will, honestly. They have a platform that grants people free will. and, you know, not provide judgment as far as the government is concerned. Leave judgment for God. Leave judgment for God. Let God deal with that person's heart. And understand there is redemption. See, if you evangelize what you're supposed to, that's the message you should be giving, that there's redemption. But no, we get stuck on gays and abortion. That's all that matters to y'all. And fundraising to line pop, that's another discussion for another day. But my goodness, man, like, evangelizing love. Even if Ricky next door is making it hard for you to follow Christ because he's gay, evangelize to Ricky. Bring him to Christ. If Jan, that's the name I said, Jan, on the other side, comes to you because she confides in you, you're her neighbor, y'all are cool like that. If Jan confides to you, I just found out I'm pregnant, man, and already got 2 kids and no dad, and this 3rd kid, evangelize to her. Evangelize to her. But don't go out here with a hard-on campaign season talking about, no abortion, ban it all. It's your personal faith. I carry out my personal faith according to what I believe God has ordained and commissioned through Scripture. Nowhere in the Scripture does it say to go into the emperor's house to help him pass legislation. So stop it.